Okay, so welcome again for those of you that are joining us live for our first ever business funnel workshop, where you're going to learn how to introduce the Shaklee business opportunity to your prospects. So the first thing that I'd like you to do is to download the business funnel guide, which is in the files here in this group, as well as it will be in your business files in your back office, but for now it's only here. So you can see it on screen at the moment. First thing I want you to notice is this document is broken into 3 pieces. So if you can see that here, can you see my annotations, Maura?
Yes.
All right, so you can see we got step 1, step 2, step 3. So you will see that step 1 is this segment here, okay? This is your step 2. And then this final segment is step 3, which kind of really includes kind of all of that. This is sort of the next piece. All right, so I will just clear all that. So Maura, I'm going to get you to read the gateway starting here.
Okay.
What do we do?
Invite your prospect to explore the opportunity, tell your story, and discover their interests, and review your about page. And number 3, guide your prospect to your business gateway.
Right on. So I am going to go to my hub site, and let's just kind of walk ourselves through this here. So what the idea is, and I want you guys to know that this is evolving. So what you see on this workshop, probably going to be a little different the next time we see it if we do this in another couple months. So just be flexible, because we are learning from this. And there's some things that I learned. You know, Mina had suggestions when we were working with her prospect, and everyone that I've been working with is helping that. So the first thing that I'm suggesting is that you actually consider going here to your about page. We are going to adjust your hub site so it's a little more intuitive that this is the first stop, by actually changing your hero shot. Instead of it saying work with me, I want that to go right to your story. We are going to remove the work with me page, as it's just kind of redundant. We'll just keep the focus on the about section. And then this is where you'd share your story. So I'll give you kind of a quick example of a nutshell version of your story. So it would be, so Maura, let's say if you're my prospect, I would say, you know, hey Maura, I actually grew up in the business. My parents started this when I was like 9 years old, and they got to the point within 3 years where they were getting free cars and traveling all over the world. When I became 18 and couldn't, you know, go with them anymore, I really went off into the normal working world. They were still at home in their home business, living the dream. And I was in retail, wasn't making that much money, you know, working weekends, and it was somewhat of a thankless job. I loved certain parts of it, but my big defining moment was when my boss drugged me out in the front of the store because I had done some things that I thought was the right thing for my store. I was a manager after all, and pointed to the sign and said, this is Foot Locker, not Jody Locker. So basically sucking any level of creativity out of me that he could. And that's when I thought, you know what, I need a change. And within 6 months, I had left and started my own business. And then I would kind of go on from there. So that would be a very nutshell version of my story. If Maura was my prospect, I'd want to find a little bit about Maura. So I'm going to do this again, what you guys will see tomorrow with my, I'm calling her a prospect. She's more like a volunteer prospect, but she does actually have an interest in wellness and possibly even in the business. So we'll see. But she's at least someone who doesn't know anything about Shaklee, so you guys are able to see her real expressions as I guide her through this. All right, so that was a little bit about the story section. Then I'm going to, what I'm going to do number 3, Maura.
Okay, so I'm skipping up to Smart Start? What do you mean? Oh, number 3, guide your prospect to the business gateway. Sorry. Yes, guide your prospect to your business gateway.
All right, so how am I going to do that? I'm going to click the home button here. And then now in this case, I'm going to just, I've got it work with me. Some of you will have it down here. Your button's down below where it'll say explore opportunity, depending on whether you've got a business focused website or a wellness focused website. So if it says explore opportunity, click there. If not, it should be up here. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to click here And now I am landing on what is known as a landing page. It's not an opt-in page because people are not actually opting in. As soon as I can get this to load. There we go.
There it is.
All right. So at this point, I don't read anything to them or anything like that, but I will say this. You will see this tomorrow. You have your prospect be the one who actually does the moving around. So Bonnie, Zeman, why do I do that? Why do I have them, do you know? Why would I have them be the one who moves the screen? Why not me just show it to them? You could unmute yourself if you...
Well, because then they would have, then they would show us what their interest was. Is that, I'm just guessing.
That's okay. That's okay. It's so that they physically have the memory of doing it, right? Like, you know, when you type on your phone, it's easier to remember your own phone number because you're used to typing it. Mm-hmm. It'll also be saved in their browser because they're the ones going places. So when they go back to the website, do you guys notice when you go to type something in how Facebook, if I start typing in my website, it'll show different sites that I've typed in relevant to that. So it'll be there in their cache as well. The other reason is for this. When I click here to watch movies and I watch the movie, it's a much better experience for them to watch the movie firsthand and let you see the stream version of it, right? The kind of the through Zoom version of it. Because your version, when you're watching it through Zoom, is going to be a little laggy. Audio is usually pretty darn good, but the video is a little not as good. So we want them to see the best version possible. So that's why we also do that. Now, that's not always going to be the case. And you will find that this is a very, very simplistic website. The only thing that tends to get a little tricky, if there's anything tricky at all, is that, I'm just going to go straight here, is that your prospects sometimes may struggle with the tour or with the Zoom, I should say. So that's, if there's any issues that I have discovered, prospects, you know, this is pretty dead simple. They can figure this out. But what they do struggle with is the tour. The Zoom. I'm on the tour. So that's why I keep saying that. Okay, so that's one of the reasons why we've been kind of having people ride along with you, Maura or Kristen or myself or one of the elves for your first few calls, just to make sure that you know how to deal with any Zoom issues that somebody may have. I will say this, if you can, get with a friend and just ask them to Zoom with you so you get the hang of having your friend go into Zoom and having your friend share their screen, some of the little technical issues that tend to come from that. The main issue you're going to notice is when you ask them to share their screen, you need them to show their, or check the box. So I'm going to adjust this so you guys can see this. I'm going to redo the share. Okay. Can you see my screen now when I will make this number 1 screen and share. Maura, can you see my main screen now with the runner?
I can.
Okay, now see the box that pops up?
Yeah. I don't know if maybe you have an unstable internet or something. It's hard to read the text for what it's worth. But we do see the both bottom check boxes marked off.
Yeah, I'm doing this optimized screen sharing for video clip, which makes the text very ugh. But can you see this checky box in the lower corner? It says share computer sound. So I'll just clear all that. I'm going to uncheck that and then reshare. Okay, so practice that, okay? Practice the sharing function so that you know how to share computer sound, or otherwise when your prospect goes to share, what's going to happen is you won't hear the audio, so you won't really know when to kind of jump back in again. So that's the critical piece there. And you'll see me again with my prospect tomorrow explain that. So there you go. Bonnie is sharing her screen. So Bonnie, were you able to figure that out? Were you able to share your screen?
Yes, I think.
Cool. Well, let's find out. So let's get you to go to my website.
How do I do that?
So you'll be just like my prospect. So go to jodysteig.com in your URL. You know where it says yourfreedomproject.zoom.us, where you type in things called your address bar? Just start typing. Do you know what an address bar is? Yeah, there you go. Great. Type in jodysteig.com. Could you type in jodysteig.com? There you go. With a Y.
Okay. There's something
perfect.
like right over the top of that, and I need to get it out of there because I can hardly see what I'm typing.
Yeah. Do you see there's like when you mouse over it, your mouse will turn into 4 squares, or there'll be a tiny little black kind of curved arrow on the lower left of it. You can drag that thing down and out of your way.
Yeah.
Or you click the little tiny arrow and it'll move down. So, Bonnie, if you're trying to get good at something, how do you get good at something, would you say? What's the normal procedures for getting good at things?
I have to do it again and again.
Yeah. Practice.
I have to do it again. Yep.
Right. Practice the big one. Don't feel you need to watch videos over and over and over. You guys got to just do it. Okay?
Okay.
That's the key. Clickety click click. So just click on the work with me.
Where's that one?
It's the big giant blue square that says work with me in the lower kind of left of the screen.
The lower left.
It says work with me. Down, down, down. It says I can help you create a career income using your smartphone.
Oh, so it was so big I missed it. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, there you go. And then just, there you go. Great. So now click on watch videos. Now we won't go through the presentation today because you're going to see that tomorrow, but let's just double check to see if you can see the, scroll down 1 notch and click on the first video where it says work from anywhere. No, you clicked the wrong one. You wanted one go below that. Hit the back button on your browser.
Good.
And go below that.
Oh, work from anywhere. Okay.
Yep.
I'm sorry, you guys. I am just really, I'm just learning everything.
How you learning?
Yep.
Now press play, and then let's see if we can hear anything. Yeah. Okay, so what I want you to do is just pause that. Go up to the top where it says new share in your toolbar, wherever you drug that toolbar. When you mouse over it, you'll see an option for new share. When you do your share, check on the lower left corner and you'll see the option that says share computer sound.
I got new share. Is that all right?
Yep, click that first. Then the box will pop up and you'll see in the lower left corner, it'll say share computer sound. Do you see that?
Yep, I see it.
Check the box and then hit share again in blue.
Oh,
Okay, great. Now press play.
Which has paid out more than $9 billion
Now go ahead
to
and stop
families
that.
just like yourself who are watching this. And this business...
Let's stop that. There you go. Great. You click anywhere outside the box, that'll go away. Click anywhere outside the box and that'll go away.
okay.
All right, good for you. You've successfully figured out now that's how to share your screen and how to share the little thing. Well, you're going to have to explain that to your prospect.
Okay.
Okay. So therefore, you must practice it so that it's second nature to you. And Bonnie, you've been in the business a long time, right?
Yes.
So like anything, when you're first starting, it feels pretty clunky and you feels pretty foreign. But, you do it 5, 6, 7, 10, 20 times, and then it's just no problem.
Okay.
Okay. Just like driving a car. Remember how hard it was to shift gears when you were first learning? Same thing. But the first thing that I want to make sure that you're aware of is, do you feel it's worth the effort to learn this? That's the question. Do you feel it's worth the effort to figure out Zoom?
I think so, because I have so many people now that if I can do this right from home, it's just so much better.
And at the moment, you have no choice but to do it from
That's
home.
right.
And I would say over the next 18 months, it's going to be somewhat harder to get people to all crowd into your home and do a physical event. Likewise for you to, have them do it in home. So we have to really consider that for the next quite a while, we have to accept that working online is pretty much going to be our main way of building our Shaklee business. So therefore, yeah, understanding Zoom, gang, is really a critical toolbox. So therefore, you have to make a thing about it. So therefore, Bonnie, get your husband, your sons or daughters or whoever's around you to let you practice with them. You guys buddy up. There's lots of us here in YFP. There's 70 people on this room right now. So buddy up and say, let's do it together. And you share back and forth. I'll share with you, you share with me. And you go through these clunky things now before you do it with your prospect. Because obviously there's only, a few of us here who can help you when you guys are having a prospect go through the tour. So many of you, you'll have to do it on your own. So you'll want to get the hang of this. And you don't want to feel that, that sort of panic when you don't really know what you're doing. And the way to solve that is just through practice. All right. So this is kind of the overview of what's going to happen. I'm just going to take the share off again. Thanks, Bonnie, for helping us there. And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen again. And then Maura, let's have you swing back in again here. And all right, Maura. So I guided them to the business gateway, and then we went into the tour. So let's read the next piece. What are we doing next? Okay,
Next, you're going to read the intro PowerPoint slides, which was the first thing that Bonnie clicked on. You're going to have them watch videos. Number 3, you're going to ask if they want to continue the tour. Number 4, if they're interested, you help them create an account. And number 5 in that procedure is to invite them to join the EO Facebook group, the Exploring the Opportunity group.
So let's swing over here and let's do that. Okay, so now you've gone through, this is what we were talking about, the presentation. So this is, if there's a script, this is it. This is the one thing that you present. Okay? This is never going to be recorded. This has always got to be you. We must remember that the reason that this system works so effectively is because what you're really doing is having a Shaklee conversation. You're actually initiating and instigating a discussion. And this is designed for that. So you will notice there's some parts in the slides like here where you're going to stop and you get them to answer this question. You want to know, what are their biggest concerns? And when they tell you that, write that down so that going forward, you'll be able to keep going back to that. And you'll just keep buzzing through the slides and, ask, here's another one where you will stop and find out which one have they ever thought about. You want that feedback. Maybe they've never thought of either of this. Mm-hmm. So we need to know, how do we angle our discussion? Because if they've never thought of having an online business and they've only just barely thought about creating an extra income, or they've never thought of any of this, The truth is, you need to find out, well, are you open to it? Maybe they're not. If they're not, then you might say, well, are you open to at least looking at more? If yes, then okay. You'll keep showing them as long as they don't mind looking and see if you can tweak an interest. Other than that, you might as well at the end sort of say, maybe this isn't for you. Maybe it's better if we move you into my wellness center and we just talk about how I can help you build health. And how do you feel about that? So we're always getting permission, we want to know, what do you want to know more about? We would stop here. We would ask this question: how do you feel about teaching versus selling? Then we are moving along through here, and we're going to get to this point here. This is a very important point you want to emphasize, okay, that you want to make something very clear, and that is you're not out selling Shaklee products. So what are you going to be doing? They're going to be copying you. That's the real question. And this is going to be adjusted, but I want to say to you guys here, the essence of this final slide is not to put them on the spot and say, so give me an answer. So it'd be like, Maura, the main thing I want you to think about is if you could address the concerns that you told me about earlier, paying off debt, saving for college, etc., working online at your own pace, would you be willing to copy that in order to make it happen? That's just what I want you to keep in the back of your mind as I'm guiding you through this process. I have a bit of a rewrite for this slide. So that's it. I'm not going to go, so Maura, tell me, right? Give me an answer. I want to know. I don't want to put her on the spot. I just want to say, just put that in your brain. If I could fix your issues, right? Or if we could help you solve your problems and you were doing it and you were doing something that you really enjoyed doing, would you be willing to do that? That's all the way I want you to look at this. So that's how I would do that. And then at the end, you'll notice it just tells you to hit the back button in your browser to start. So we're going to do that. I'm going to go up here and I'm back in here again. Okay. Now I did want to show you something here, and that is, these are the points that we cover in that PowerPoint so that you know that, okay? We're creating curiosity. We want to discover their pain points. We want to reduce the pressure so they do not feel any pressure at all, that this is really, they've got all the power in the world to say no, and you are not going to grind on them or do anything weird. Okay, this is communicating value and providing them a choice. And one of those choices is to do nothing, and you're going to honor that. Then the space you give them to say no will oftentimes give them more room to say yes. So then we're setting the stage for them of what's to come so that they're knowing where we're going with this. Okay, we are bringing the point up about teaching versus selling. We are then explaining why we're going to focus on the Prove It Challenge, and then we give them kind of a soft roadmap of what's coming next. And that is what is covered in that PowerPoint. So then what I would do is I would say, all right, Maura, so we've got a couple of videos here, as I said. What I want you to do is I want you to click on the first one, which is our CEO. And Roger Barnett is really an amazing man. He's not only is he a billionaire and has started several companies in this, in the e-commerce industry, but he's got a really powerful message of how he can help people during this crisis with something called the stimulus plan. And I'd like you to learn more about that. So let's watch that. So give a little bit of a kind of color commentary of the video. And then after she's done watching it, then what I would say is, all right, Maura, so what did you like best about the video? Is there anything that sort of stands out in your mind? Now, you guys will want to have some thoughts in your mind. What are some things that actually stand out for you so that you can jog your person's memory? I guarantee you your prospect will come out of that and be like, they don't really know what to say. But if you'll just give them a little bit of a tip, it'll bring back some memories. So you might want to say, I found that it was very, the part that I really like was where he mentions that it's Shaklee's time to serve. And I really believe in serving the community. What do you think about that? See how you can stimulate a conversation by hanging off a point or two. So make sure you guys, what do you think you should do to become a better guide? Do you think that you should not watch any of the videos and barely know your way around? So, because this is what
Pick me. I know the answer.
yeah, pick me. And it's sort of disturbing to me and a little bit sad when I notice the chat. I constantly see, I'm overwhelmed. I don't know what I'm doing. I've never seen this. I don't know where to go. And it's kind of like, but isn't this your business? So therefore, could I kind of call you on that and say, you said this is your business. So therefore, should you be kind of professional and kind of know what you're doing? And therefore, we've already established, Bonnie said what y'all need to do to get good at what you're doing, right, is to practice. So therefore, I think you all know the point I'm getting at here is that hold yourselves accountable for becoming pros. How do you become a pro? You got to practice. How do you practice? You got to spend some time and you got to focus on it. So, you know, you're on Mission Possible and Marketing Mondays and you're on the zillion different workshops like this, but how much time are you actually spending practicing, right? Like getting in there and clicking the links and monkeying around in there and phoning up a friend and saying, let's try this together. I need to figure this thing out. And you're getting down and dirty with it. And I guarantee you, if I told you you're going to win $1 million, if you went and knew every video by heart, you'd figure it out. You'd do it. Okay. Now, do you need to know every video by heart? No. But you need to kind of have a couple points of what really does stick in your mind about that so that you can have a conversation with somebody about the key points. You're not, by the way, going to necessarily watch every video with your prospect. Keep that in mind. So you may just be limited on time because what I'm asking people is if they could give me about 15 to 30 minutes of time. So depending on how long you told your story, you might only have 15 minutes. Well, by the way, if you watch all these videos, that's 15 minutes. So if you do this little presentation, this is about 10 minutes. So you're looking at 30 minutes plus, you know, a 5-minute story. And keep your story short, but you really can do it in there. So if they're really only going to give you a few minutes, I would definitely go with the Roger video. I'd pick one story and then this Shaklee one if I had to pick. And then I would let them know that, you know, if they want to see more of the numbers, they can see that here. And then how do they feel about that? Do they want to learn more? You have one mission in this first appointment. And what is that? Gang, what's the mission on this first appointment? And I'm going to open up my chat again here. Where'd that chat go?
To get them to want to learn more.
Yeah, that's right.
Woo!
To get them to want to learn more. Way to go, Sue. That is exactly it. And there we go. To get to the next step. That's right. So therefore, it doesn't matter that you watch every video and that, you know, you don't have to be super, but you have to at least sound like you know what you're doing. Right? Because I don't want to follow someone in the dark who doesn't have a flashlight. So your job is to let them know that, you know, you're comfortable with this. But more importantly, that you feel them. You're interested in what they think about this. What are they looking for? And if they're not looking for this, you're also like a guide to say, you know what? Maybe this is not a good fit for you. Let them tell you, no, I'm liking this. We are not trying to get them to do this. We are trying to expose them to this information so they can sell themselves. So let's type that out. Not trying to get them to do it. We want them to sell themselves. And if you've done a good enough job making sure that they know what's available to them, then what more could you do, right? If they watch this and they learn, I don't know what else could be done. But I really want you to make sure that there's one critical key factor. The truth is, the pick doesn't matter. The pick is just a program for now, and it'll change. Even though the pick is great and it's successful and all that, that's not really what matters. That's not really what you're enrolling them into. Okay? Because you know in a few more years it'll be some other thing that Shaklee has and it'll be wonderful, but they will move on. So therefore, what is it that really matters that you're enrolling them into? You guys are still typing, which is great. So, Maura, what is it that really we're trying to get across to them? Because it's not, even though the stories are great, and Shaklee's got a wonderful history and all that, that's fantastic. But what are we really enrolling them into? And we said it at the last slide of the Start Your Tour PowerPoint.
You might have stumped me, but I would say,
Bonnie's close. They don't need to sell, but not quite. It's a little bit more than that. Yeah, there we go. Pat's got it.
oh, okay. Pat. Right.
Pat.
Do you want to do, do you want to do what I'm doing? Would you want to sit in front of a computer screen and guide people through websites,
Through videos.
and through those steps and through videos?
Yep.
Yeah.
So let's type that out. Do you want to do what I'm doing? That's the thing. So the videos are going to change, right? The messages are going to change. But what we do, which is guiding people through information, does not change. That is the underlying framework to all this. Do you want to do what I'm doing? So therefore, we want to show them that what we're doing is pretty darn fun and simple. Which is why you want to be very careful that you know Zoom. If they come in and it's a technical disaster, they might not want to do that,
Right.
right? They'll be like, I don't know. That seems kind of tricky for me. So you want to know how you can also make, if you're struggling with Zoom, then just go to whatever's the easiest thing you can do, which is then forget Zoom. Don't do screen sharing. Just tell them, okay, just click this link, go there. Can you see it? Simplify it so that they don't feel that this is any more complicated than it really is. Fun and simple, that's right. So we're basically guiding people through information, and we're just having conversations about something that we're excited about to see if they're interested. That's right, Kristen, old school phone conversations. Okay, so then we're going to click on the continue tour. And by the way, gang, look at that. They got the new tour page set up. So Mina, because we made this for you, you go ahead and read to me. What does that say?
Okay, okay, create a
Mina,
free
why
account.
did we make this for you?
Say it again.
Why did we make this for you?
Because I was taking notes, and I said, instead of us referring to our notes, let's just have it on here. Just set it up here, right?
You got it. That's right. So you see how it's your freedom project?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because you guys get to put input in, and we adjust it and improve this based on what you guys give us as feedback. So great job, Mina. Let's take it away.
And I tell everybody that too, that that we have the best in Shaklee with science, and we have the best with Jody with doing the business part of it. So,
Well, let's not say Jody, because there's only one little Jody. Let's just say
okay, so Jody, and he uses our ideas. He's open, just like Shaklee's open to our ideas.
There you go.
I do mention that. But you know what else I also say? That it is so much fun. I mean, I use that all the time. This is so much fun. Just take, 15, 30 minutes, or more if you want. And you know what, Jody, you make it fun. And that's why I keep on saying that to everybody. So, but not everybody can have you when they're on. But okay, so you want me to read this?
Yeah.
Create a free account to continue your tour. When you create an account, you have access to my classroom and discover the benefits, the products, how it works, and how to get started.
Great. You can see we've got screenshots inside the back office. They do need to update the products one, but they're getting there. Okay, keep going.
Okay. And when you create an account, you'll be added to my weekly wellness updates and monthly Vitality for Life e-newsletter. You can unsubscribe anytime if you wish.
Great. And then this is just images, as we can see, of what we just said. Great. Keep going.
You skipped something. Yeah. Okay. So you'll also get VIP access to my Wellness Projects Resource Center, which is a digital library of ebooks, webinars, in-depth articles curated by scientists and experts on important wellness topics that will help educate your clients and create a loyal customer base. So there are 3 benefits for this. You can learn more about the products. This is important if you're going to have a business like this. And you'll see what's available to you. You'll discover the educational content and customer support tools you'll have access to. And you know that knowledge is power. You'll be able to make more informed decisions regarding this opportunity.
Perfect. Okay, great. Well done, Mina. So Carol's asking a question. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Mina.
I was just going to say, so are you ready? Do you want to continue on and learn more about this?
Perfect. Yep. And See, now you've let them know what to expect by filling this out. You've let them know they're getting more value, and then easy peasy. Carol's asking, if we take someone through who are already on our master list, do they still fill this out? Good question. No, they do not. Anybody in your wellness center does not need to fill this out. They just scroll to the bottom, and all they have to do is click log in. So you don't really need to say it that way. You can just say, well, you're already in my wellness center, but I'll just review. Here's kind of, what a new builder does get. Because remember, you're not trying to just get them into Shaklee, right? Or to encourage them to join Shaklee. You're trying to encourage them to use your process. That's really what you're asking them to do, is become a guide just like you. So therefore, what's important is that they understand the process that they would copy. If you skip over stuff like that, then when they say, sure, I'll do it, they'll be like, all right, Mina, so what do I do? And you'll be like, you're supposed to do what I just did. But they'll be like, but you didn't really do it properly. So how do I know what you just did? Okay. So that's why when people want to shortchange you and jump ahead and, I just want to sign up today and then we'll do this tomorrow. Yeah, I get that. I really, I'd love to just get you going, but then you won't know how to actually find someone else. When you'll say yes to the business, but then you're going to be frustrated with me because you won't actually know how to replicate my process. And my sequence is sacred, right? Because I know if I do this right for you, you'll be set up to win forever. If you steal that from them by letting them push you around, which is what a prospect wants to do. A prospect will want to, because they don't really know what to do. So they're going to be just flying all over the place. But if you gently, nurturingly say, I get that, but this is going to be what's best for you. So is that okay if we do it this way? Do you feel, Mina, that they'll be like, oh, okay. And they're going to follow your lead, right? Okay. That's going to be your number one issue people are going to do. They're going to be, well, I just want to know about the products. Well, we're going to talk about the products, but it's going to come in module 3. So is that okay if we just do this in order? So that if this is something you decide to do, you'll know how to copy me. So let's type this out. Is it okay if we do this in order? So that if you decide to do this, you'll know how to copy me. Is it okay if we do this in the proper order? Is it okay if we do this in the proper order? So if you say yes to this, you'll know how to copy me. Right on Bonnie Smith. Okay? So most of them, I don't know many people that'll be like, no. I want to do it my way. Most people at that point are like, oh, they kind of hear your underlying message in a very sugary, gentle, loving way. Okay? So if you say yes to this, you'll know how to copy me. And that is the missing element in Shaklee, is everybody tells me, I want a duplicatable system. And then as soon as I try to teach them to duplicate the process, they're like, bing, bong, bing, bong, bing, bong, all over the place, doing it in all these different ways. Because they're just like, I just got to sponsor somebody. As long as I sponsor somebody, I'm going to win. But then you don't set up your new person to win. And what you have is a whole team that are all staring at you who don't know what to do. So you're killing your new babies if you don't be very firm with them on you must follow this process so that you'll know how to copy me. I can't stress that enough. So then what's going to happen is they're going to create their account. We're going to come inside. We're going to log in. And I'm going to just zoom out a little bit here. Yay, they got this fixed too. All right, I did this for Mina too. All right, so Mina, I'm going to tell them to scroll on down because I'm not going to worry about the stimulus plan yet. What am I going to say? Go ahead and read that to me now.
The Join Explore Opportunity Facebook group.
Right.
Why join? Yeah. So why join the group? Because this supports your exploration, keeps you updated when we add new helpful content, allows you to meet others who are exploring and those already having success, social proof, and you can see the resources available to you which can support your efforts if you choose to join.
Yeah, better. So then I'm going to click, I'll have my person click on that. Now, I will ask them as well, are you on Facebook? Because if they're not on Facebook and they never plan on being on Facebook, then just skip this. What's the point, right? But if they are on Facebook, then absolutely you want them in this group. Because do you guys notice what's the nature of the content of this group? There's no chitter chatter, right? Of like, how do I do this? There's nobody complaining about stuff. This is a very safe space for your prospect to discover Shaklee on an opportunity side. So what's critical is we want you guys to participate in the group. Put in your content. So Bonnie did a great thing here. Right there, look at that. With support from my biz leader and a little extra effort, I just made an extra $500 this weekend with my Shaklee business. Okay, do you see how important that is for your prospects to see that? And if you're all putting that in, do you see how much more powerful that is than if you just had your own little group with only what you could say? Whereas that's the social proof factor, because then they look at it and they see, oh, there's like, 500 other people looking at this. I'm not like the only one looking at this. There's actually other people in here. So this will benefit you guys if you participate. Do not be flies on the wall hoping YFP is just going to fill this full of wonderful information, because the most powerful information is going to be what comes from you. When you post that you just had a big win, post that in there, because you know your prospects are in there, so you want them to see that. This is also, by the way, okay, where we live stream updates or our wealthy webinars, as well as our sneak peeks, like you see with Samantha Armstrong here. Now, this content that Cody put in is actually not really correct in that this is just for business chat. They don't really need to know about that. But okay, and what I do is when I have them go right there, and I'll get them like to actually click the accept invite or join or whatever. I want them in the group. And then our admins, we're watching all the time, and we will accept your people as soon as we see them in there. But they will get a question, and that'll come up, which will say, who invited you? Get them to put in your full name, okay, so that we can see that. All right, and you know what? That's a wrap. That is all that we do for step 1. So let's go back here, and you can see that was the number 5. We ended it there. All right, so now let's just do the final piece here. Maura, what do we do next? We're moving into step 2. And by the way, gang, step 1, okay, is about creating what? And reawakening what? Let's hear it from Bonnie. Did you want to say something?
Yeah, it's about creating curiosity.
Yeah, and reawakening what?
Dreams.
Yeah,
Correct.
hope, dream. Yeah.
Dreams. Would you guys agree that most people have kind of given up on their dreams? They're older now. They realize this just isn't working out like I thought it was going to be, right?
Yeah.
I thought by 40 I was going to be, financially free. I can still barely save any money. So for someone in that position, we need to reawaken their dream. So that's what step 1 is all about. Step 2 is about what? Preparing them to what? These 3 modules. What are we preparing them to do? You may not know that, Bonnie, but you can guess if you want.
Funnel to come in and take a look.
Well, they're already in there taking a look. So you created curiosity and reawaken dreams. So now they're in there taking a look.
We're going to educate them.
David's got it. Preparing them to do. But there's 2 things you want them to do. What is it? Just think Shaklee words. 2 things you want them to do. So they're now looking at the Shaklee opportunity. What do you want them to do? Starts with a J or an E. You can check it in the chat, Bonnie.
Join.
Yay, that's right. Join. And one more thing, starts with a B. Cha-ching.
I don't know.
What happens when something goes cha-ching?
Oh, bye. Bye.
Yeah.
Oh, bye. Yeah, okay.
Red bills.
Yeah. So you want them, you're preparing them to learn about buying and enrolling. That's what this module 3 is all about. You're getting them ready so that they'll be like, this makes sense. I want to join your business and I want to buy a whack of products. That's what we want. Not just the pick, by the way. To me, there's no reason you couldn't have $1,000 order or 1,000 PV order. Don't think just pick. Think 1,000 PV order is what you really want. And then you're going to end up with 500 PV orders, 1,500 PV orders, and yeah, you'll get some picks as well. But think big, medium, and small. So you all need to know, what's your big order going to look like? It should be pick with the all-in success pack and maybe a couple essentials on the side of that. But if you're only going in thinking pick, then that's all you're going to get. But if you think big, then you're more likely to find you're going to get a lot in the middle. So the middle is going to be pick and a particular success pack. And then the low level is pick or under. And I also don't, I got no problem with someone starting for $25 because distributor, half price. And at the same time, buy a bottle of Vital E and a can of protein or a basic H or whatever. Minimum one product, and that's okay too. We want them to know there's a full way to go. But if they got the money for it, finances are not a problem. Let's get you going fast. And the fastest way is to have a good sizable order. And why is that? Because then they'll know how to teach someone else to start with a sizable order. That's why Shaklee businesses used to grow phenomenally quick. If you go back and listen to old Jim Burt tapes, he was starting people off at $2,000 orders, bing, 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 in a night. He'd get 3 couples who'd both cut him a $2,000 check. We've lost that thinking, I feel, or some of us has. Who's lost that thinking, or who's reawakening to that? Why can't we get them to start with a $1,500, $2,000 order? Mina is a businesswoman. She knows that $1,500 for starting a business is like chump change. So if I'm talking to someone like Mina, that's an easy peasy thing to do. If I'm talking to someone who's never even thought about it and they hardly got any money they can barely rub 2 dimes together, well, then I'm going to start talking about, Vital E and a can of protein. So I never will force or squeeze or manipulate or make people feel bad about the size of the order, but that's why we want to educate the heck out of them, and more importantly, build a very deep relationship so that when it comes time for me to ask for a $2,000, $1,500 order, right? They're like, okay, Jody, I trust you. You said this is the best for me. I will do it. Because then they can go out. Let's just think about it, gang. How could someone's business grow from an income perspective if they were able to enroll 3 people a month with a $1,000 order or a 1,000 PV order? They're a director in a month, right? And then their reorder rate is going to be way higher the month after that. So do as I do. And there's a lot more people out there in the world that have got a couple grand that they could easily spend on a business if it made sense to them than we realize. I always tell this to my team. People aren't as broke as you are. So, right? So don't put your position on other people. All right. So step 2, Maura, what do we got going on here? Go ahead and read that.
I had to unmute there. Step 2, guide them to the Explore Opportunity class. And number 2, guide them through the 3 modules. Number 3, assign fun work and set up a follow-up appointment.
Right. Now, I'm not going to go into it in any more detail today because you're going to watch me do it over the next 3 days. And you'll see the way I'm moving around based on my prospect and her needs. So with that, let's wrap up session 1, and let's just take a moment and see any questions so far, and what have you liked best about what you learned today? What's sticking in your brain that you feel is going to empower you so that you'll be able to invite your prospect today? You do not need to wait. You know how to get them to the first gate. So as long as you know one thing, cross that bridge. Then we'll do the next ones. So Janet says practice, practice, practice. Good for you. Carol, duplication. Pam, practice, practice. Fantastic. Will this be recorded? What do I say? What's my answer when everyone asks me, will this be recorded? Because everybody asks us every day, will this be recorded? And the answer is absolutely.
Hey, Jody.
Go ahead.
As far as time frames, what are you telling people? What are you telling your prospects? Like 15 to 30 minutes? Is that the time frame you're giving them?
Yeah, so the tour is 15 to 30 minutes, 45 on the outside. Your module 1, though, once you get inside the classroom, that's an hour.
You mean like step 2 is an hour?
Yeah, step 2, that's right. Once you get them in the classrooms, you do those 3 modules, that's an hour.
And step 3 is also an hour?
Now, step 3, that's the Smart Start. That is multiple hours, possibly, depending on the questions they have. Because, see, that's actually launching their business, right? So that's now murky. It's not an exact cut and dry thing because that's where you're like helping them put their order together, getting signed up with Shaklee. That's where you're going to talk about their top 10 and inviting people. So there's, that's where things start to get clunky and there's no exact number to that. That could take days. So go ahead, Susan.
So step 1, 15 to 30 minutes, possibly 45.
Yep.
Step 2, an hour. Step 3, we don't know.
Is an undetermined amount of time. But I will say this, every session in step 3 onwards is going to be 45 minutes to an hour, depending on how many questions they have. But that's up to them. If they're like, I can only give you 30 minutes, well, then you'll have to break it into small 30-minute chunks.
Right. That's what I'm wondering is if we want to do all those 3 classrooms in 1 hour, that seems like you're rushing through it if you do that.
You're right. You may have to bust it into 2 30-minute or 2 45 minutes or whatnot. There is no, don't feel that it's like, I got to get step 2 done in this one thing. It doesn't have to be that way. It is, how does it work for you and your prospect? Now, this week for the workshop, I'm forcing it into a box because we're doing a workshop. So I can't let this drag out beyond the classes I've proposed for us. However, when you're with your prospect, as long as they don't mind keeping on meeting with you, then keep on meeting with them. If they could only give you 30 minutes and you feel, and they don't mind learning more, you're having a good time together, break it up. Yeah, make it a little longer. I mean, module 3 could be 3 30-minute appointments.
So are you telling them every time, okay, it's going to be this long, or are you just doing it on step 1?
It's it's nice to say, how's our time today? How we doing? Is 30 minutes, 45 an hour, is that going to be okay for today? So that we don't go over where they're like, oh God, I got to go, but she won't shut up. Right?
Yeah.
So, or they feel awkward, they feel uncomfortable to tell you like, I really got to go, dinner's ready, or whatever their deal is. Yeah, so in the beginning, that's a habit you'll have to just put a sticky note, ask them, is 1 hour okay? Or how are they doing or whatever.
Okay, so you're asking them at the time, you're not really saying it ahead of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
How we doing for today? Because what you're going to find is sometimes you get into idle chatter. You'll chat about the kids and then this and then that, and maybe you'll have political rants or whatever, right? And then you'll be like, oh gosh, we got to get back and let's get going. And then boom, you've burned off your 1 hour and you only did like module 1.5. Well, hey, how you feeling? You want to keep going? You just go with the flow.
Okay.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. Great. Did anyone else have any other questions or comments? Do you want to unmute and jump in quickly? Yes, Carol, it is faster than before. And that is what we were trying to do, was speed this up. So, but in the same level, you speed it up to the level where you feel they're pulling on you for this. If they're like, let's go, I really want to know it. Show it to me all right now. Well, then you can do the whole modules 1, 2, and 3 in one day. You can have it done in an hour and a bit. So, okay, the videos don't take more than that. It's just the extra chitty chat around that. So, woohoo! Tony Parker got our first EO in 2 hours. So hopefully, Tony, this was helpful for you. So with that, gang, let me just add this one point. This is the critical piece. How do you actually get someone to say yes to take the tour? There are so many ways to do it, but Mina could maybe share because she's had, I think, 5, 6 people already say yes. So Mina went with her existing distributor base. So that's what I would recommend for those of you that already have distributors, go to them first and say, listen, I'm working on this new project. And I don't know, Mina, what did you say to get your people to take a look?
Well, I always say that it's fun, and that I always also say 15 to 30 minutes more if you can. Like when Gerald came on, he had we were probably on for less than 30 minutes, right? Like 20 minutes or something. And I don't know, I always emphasize that it can be as short as not more than 30 minutes the first time.
What was the original premise? Like, what was the way you said, like, hey, I'm doing this thing? How did you say it?
Oh, okay. So I wrote it down. Let me think. You can see I have my daughter's dog here that needs to go out for a walk.
And definitely, who could say no to you when you're holding a cute dog?
I know. So,
was it basically like, hey, I'm working with this?
I'm working with this coach that is teaching us. It depends on who I'm talking to. So if I'm talking to a past distributor like Maureen, I say, I'm working with a coach that's teaching us tools to introduce
Shaklee?
I have to look at my notes, but the didactic or the learning part of health and wellness. So it has nothing to do with selling. It's just going into a classroom situation, and there's 2 funnels that you can take. Just somebody that's more interested in health and wellness, and then someone that's interested in the business. So, so that's for somebody that's already a distributor or past distributor or knows about Shaklee. For people that don't know about Shaklee, just talk about it being a classroom where you can learn about health and wellness. And if you're interested in the business, especially during this unprecedented time, or someone that might be interested in the business, this is a great opportunity. And sometimes I'll talk a little bit about Roger and the new plan that he has, the new stimulus plan.
Fantastic.
Tony Parker has a good intro.
Who does?
Tony Parker wants to share.
Go ahead, Tony.
Okay, so I sent off 3 emails to 3 inactive distributors yesterday, and I've heard back from 2 of them with yeses. And basically what I said was, Carolyn, I wonder, would you have any interest in taking a look at the Shaklee opportunity again? I have this very cool tool that I'm sharing. It's called the Explore Opportunity. We could pop on Zoom, and I could show it to you. We'd need about 30. There's a short slide presentation and videos. Whew, so much easier.
Yeah.
And she said,
great.
I have 2 yeses.
If you could post that in the YFP group.
That was great.
Okay.
Thanks,
Yeah,
Tony.
don't post it here, post it in the YFP group, Tony. That would be fantastic.
Woohoo!
Okay.
Love it.
Good for you. So that's with an existing distributor. If they're a brand new person who's never heard anything at all, there's a few ways you could approach it. One of it is this. Are you open to a quick conversation about some possibilities of earning an extra income online?
Mm-hmm.
They either are or they're not. If they're not, then what else can you say, right? It's like, okay, fair enough.
Please post that, Jody.
Go ahead.
Post that as well, please, Jody.
I will.
Thank you.
Another way you could say it is this. Did you know that I've had an online business for a couple of years? Have I ever told you about that?
Mm-hmm.
Now you can get a response where they're like, no, I didn't. Oh, okay. Well, listen, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm just showing people a little sneak peek of kind of what I do and how it works. And would you be open to just taking a peek? That way you're not talking about money so much. It's just more of like, can I show you what I'm doing? Show and tell. That'll work especially well with like a friend who knows you well. And they're just like, sure, I'd like to see what you do. All right, so that's it, gang. Way to go, Tony. Good for you. And to anyone else who's got an EO coming up, nice. Awesome. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 o'clock. I will say this, just to kind of prep you up. When my prospect is here, okay, you guys will be there. I've already let her know that you're going to be there. So, just, of course, be your same wonderful, loving selves. And that just, make sure you're muted. I don't mind you being on camera, but just make sure that you're muted. And that we're just very respectful of her, because she's going to be, it'll be a bit weird for her. All of a sudden, there's all these people like, oh my God, all these people like looking at me. So we just want to make sure that we're aware of that, and that she feels that energy that, we're just cheering you on, and we're not like a bunch of hungry vampires, right?
Hey, Joe.
Go ahead.
This is Tom. How you doing?
Hey, Tom. Good, man.
How are you? Are you going to bring them through like right from the beginning so we see it right from the start?
Got it. Yep.
Okay, that's awesome.
All right. Thanks so much, everybody. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 o'clock, for the beginning
Thank you, Tony.
of the Explore Opportunity. Good luck, Tony. Take care, everyone.